Okay, once the scarf is done, I can't get the whole thing in the shot, so it's kind of rolled up. We need to do the embellishments on it. Now, the embellishments are all done with the same yarn that the scarf is made with. First thing you want to do is we need to make all these. I know this just looks weird, a bunch of little like worm looking things. I'm not just cutting the yarn, I'm actually doing like a crochet chain, which what you do is you just make a slip knot, pull through, pull the loop through, and you just keep pulling the loop through the working yarn. Pulling the working yarn through the loop, sorry, until it gets to the measurement that you want. This end right here you can just cut. Once the other end is the length that you want, you cut, pull the string through, and then you can cut them right up to the knot. It's not going to unwind. The measurements you're going to need, which these can be in one collar, both collars, it really doesn't matter. Alright, you're going to need 2 pieces that are between 10 and 11 inches long. These ones are right at 10 inches. Which that's going to wind up, and that's going to be the middle of the paw. These are going to be the ones that are going to outline the ear. Like that. So we need 2 pieces that are between, well, about 5.5 to 6 inches long. Now we need 8 pieces. These are for the little paw print, the little circles on the paw prints. These need to be between 4 and 5 inches long. So you want 8 of those, and I'm going to do the detail on one paw in black. So that's all we'll go with that, and the detail on the other paw in white. So you'll need all that. Now to make the ear, which I made one ear already in black, I'm going to make one in white. The ear is just done by using your figure 8 stitch. Now you can cast on 6 pegs if you want, or you can just start with your figure 8 stitch. I just started with the figure 8 stitch. So you do a figure 8 stitch, and then you go over and do the next row. Take your bottom loop over the top. You're going to do this until you have 6 wide. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, one more. 6. Now you're going to do 4 rows all together. Just go back and forth until you have 4 rows. I got my 4 rows, which we are working the ear from the bottom to the top. So now we're going to decrease 1 on each side. Just take the loop off the first peg, put it on the second, take the loop off the last peg, and put it to the one right before that. Then we will work the row as normal, treating the pegs that have more than one stitch on them just like it's one. Okay, now we'll take the next peg off and move it towards the center. And we will work that just like normal. Now, take one of those off, cut your working yarn, run it through that loop 2 times, and then you can take it off. And you can see it wants to curl up and shape kind of like that ear already. So there are your ears, which the ears you can do both in one color or do them in different colors like I am. At this point, we need to put all this stuff together. So we just basically got this huge pile of just, it looks like junk right now. We will start with black. Now you'll need white thread and black thread, or just whatever color you're using. you want a corresponding color thread so you can sew these up and it not be noticeable. So get a needle and thread it. Which all I'm going to do is just knot both strands together. You don't have to do it that way if you don't want to. But okay, I've got all these mixed up. Let me separate them out again. Okay, big paw. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's for the ear, and that one's for the other ear. All of these we'll do in white. I'll show you on just one of the small ones how you're going to sew these circles up, and then you can do all of those. You'll have one big one. Well, you end up with 2 big ones and 8 small ones. Which what I'm doing is I'm just running my needle through the end, and I've got a little bit of a knot there. If I would have pulled on that, it would have came out, so I didn't pull very hard. Now we're going to just sew this up as we turn it into, you're going to curl it up like this in a circle shape, and you're going to sew it so that it holds that shape. There are a bunch of different ways you can do this. You can do it as you go, or you can roll the whole thing up and then sew through it. It's just really whatever your preference is. I typically get it going and then we'll twist it some and sew through the entire thing. I've got a really thick needle, so it doesn't want to go through all of it, but that's normally how I will do it. So go ahead and sew up all these pieces. When you're done, you'll have 8 small ones like this and then 2 bigger ones. Okay, so once you have the 8 small ones and 2 big ones all sewed up, I mean, you can put them in any order you want. You can do the colors with them, or you could switch out a couple of them, however you want to do it. Now for the ears, I'm doing contrasting colors. So the black ear is going to have a white rim on it, and then the white ear is going to have a black rim on it. Now what I'm doing is I'm actually sewing it on with the white thread, but it's not going to be noticeable. So what I'm doing is I'm starting it down here at the bottom on one side, and we're going to sew it all the way around this shape. When we're at the top, we'll actually do a couple stitches right around that, through this right here, so that it makes sure that it keeps that ear shape. And see how that knot's like that? We're twisting it to where the knot is on the bottom. Now for this, you want to make sure you put your stitches close together so that they are not, so you're not able to see them in the black. See, once I pulled that down, you can't see that at all. So you just go all the way around and just sew that on. And then I will show you how we put all this together on the scarf itself. Okay, once all the little embellishments are made, now we can start adding them to this. Now what you want to do first of all is flip the scarf inside out, fold it in half long ways so that the hands match up down at the bottom. And what I did was I took a scrap of yarn and I just sewed, or you can use a crochet hook or you can sew down this back side. I sewed, let's see how far down I went. About 12 inches down. You can sew it down as far as you want. I suggest every once in a while just putting it on and trying it, make sure the size is right. And then once you have that out as far as you want, then you can flip it inside out and start adding your embellishments. But for the paws, that really doesn't matter. You can add the paw embellishments at any point. You just got to remember to fold them up the right way. So I've got it flipped to where this is the side that's going to show. So this is where you want to sew on your embellishments, which I still got some white thread, so we'll start with the white first. But you can see this is the back side because I haven't woven in strings yet. So you kind of want to measure, see how long you want it to go up, which that's right there, that'll be fine. I'm not going to sew down the sides yet until after I have the paw prints themselves on it. Which I'm just going to do the paw prints all in the color that will match. So you put them on however you want, and then you take your needle and thread and you sew them in place, which we'll start with the middle one, which all I'm doing is I'm just going to kind of sew it, like tack it in place, and then go over more towards the edge. And then you want to make sure the edges are tacked in, and you just kind of sew around it until all these edges, of course it's really loose now, but sew all the way around it until all the edges are firm to where it's not going to go anywhere. Do the same with the other paw, and then I'll show you how to hook your ears and sew. The paws are on. So now we just fold it up, make sure it's long enough for your hand to fit down in. And then you just thread a tapestry needle and you sew up both the edges. And then you do the same with the second one, measuring to make sure you get the lengths correct. Now for the ears, the ear placement is a little harder to figure out. You want it, I'm folding it like a triangle. This is the seam that goes down the back. That'll go down the back of the head. And the ears, you want to sew on about right there. Which what I do is I will tack them in place just a little bit and then try it on and look in the mirror until I get the placement exactly where I want it. But you want it more towards the front just because of the size of the hood. So then you sew those on and you're all done. Alright, I like to sew them on the black one. Actually, I will use the black yarn to sew both of these on, because what you do is you sew all along this bottom edge, and the shape of the ears, they'll want to stay standing up. Alright, that's really all I have for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Of course, everything is wrote out in the PDF. Any questions or comments at all, leave in the comment section below, or you can email me. My email is in the description below. Again, thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.